All right, welcome back. Let's catch more cheaters. All right, so this one looks like it's probably Eastern or Central Europe. Probably a little more central. Not exactly sure actually where this one is. Oh, those house numbers over there look like they might be the Slovakian variant. Not sure if they have those in Czechia too, though they might. But I do think this is Czechia or Slovakia just based on the architecture and that house number. Let's see what the player does. We're in moving. They're moving around. There's a van over here, .sk. They're going straight to the capital and it ends up being the capital. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Seeing a domain and clicking capital is a perfectly reasonable thing to do, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that they're innocent on this one. Awesome. Let's go on to the next case. All right, this one looks like it's probably Russia. This kind of yellow fence pole pipe thing that you sometimes see in Russia, and these bollards look like they're kind of Russian. We're in no move. And so for those of you that don't know how this works is that people have been reported for scripting or Googling, and we're just trying to see if they are legit. So they're not panning around at all, even though this is no move, so they could be panning around. Could just be scanning the landscape. Let's see where they guess. Okay, they're zoomed all the way out, and they're kind of clicking. It's probably a pretty reasonable region guess. It was a little weird. That wasn't a very natural sort of way that they made that guess. And they didn't look around at all. Like, what are they doing here? So robotic. The way that they're kind of clicking, it's like doot, 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 doot. I think it's pretty likely that they scripted. It's like they're clicking all around. Oh, actually, you know what? Right there, I think they're on the 5K. Yep, in case you missed it, right here, they are clicked exactly on the right location. And then if you scroll forward a little bit, that's actually where it ends up being. They moved off of it potentially to make it look less suspicious. They're in a country that does not have coverage at all. Azerbaijan here, no coverage. Not something that a 700 player would probably guess. And at some point they were exactly on the location. So it's like, why'd they move off of it if they thought that that's where it was? But obviously it's because they scripted. The script automatically put them on the right location, and then they moved off of it to look less suspicious. I suspect that this sort of thing where they were jumping around all over the place was them just pressing the random buttons on the script. So I think the way that a lot of these scripts work is that you kind of have a bunch of buttons you can press that do different things, one of which is just guessing the correct location. And so they're kind of just, I think, flipping through the button that makes it so that it guesses close to the right location but not at the actual place. So that's why they're kind of guessing in the water a lot here. They're on the right location again there, then they're over here, then they're, they're on the right location again, and they're off of it, they're on it again, then they're off of it, and then that's where it is. Really, really suspicious. They guessed the correct location like 6 times without actually pressing submit. So definitely a case of scripting. Thank you, GeoGuessr. All right, next case, let's do it. Okay, this one looks like Sweden with these dashes. I think they also have those in Estonia. We have birch trees over here, which you do find in Northern Europe. It's very dense vegetation. So I think if it is Sweden, it's probably like all the way south. Like I would click the southern tip of Sweden here, I think. But let's see what the player does. We're in moving. Okay, they're clicked in from space, still in orbit. Clicked southern Sweden. It's where I thought it was. Let's see. And they click up. Yeah, and then they were on the 5K, it looks like. Interesting. Well, I'm fairly confident that they scripted here. Another case where they clicked on the 5K from space and then moved off of it. So funny, like if you're gonna cheat, this is not a very good guess. Like, they could have just clicked Stockholm to make it look less suspicious, but they click on the 5K from space, all the way from orbit, and then they move off of it. And that's actually where it ends up being. So they scripted. All right, let's go to the next case. Okay, back in Europe, we have the European license plate over here. We have 2023 copyright. So if you can see that on the video, that makes Germany possible here with this coverage. So I think this could be Germany. The weather surely fits. Let's see what the player does. We're in moving around, lots of language. Looks like it could be German. Okay, moving around more. Haven't seen anything suspicious yet. Yeah, those street signs they have in Germany. I think they may tell you which town this is, but I don't remember off the top of my head. That might have had a location. Yeah, let's see. So they see this sign. We have the German domain here, so they should be pretty confident guessing Germany. Let's see how close they actually get. I would just probably guess a city here. Looks like they're going Frankfurt. Definitely could be Frankfurt. I don't think that's too suspicious of a guess based on this information that we have. Looks like it's a team duel since we have 2 pins. They're both guessing Frankfurt, so they're very confident it's Frankfurt here, which is kind of interesting. I think that street sign might be a Frankfurt street sign. And then let's see. Yeah, and then it ends up being just on the other side of the river. I don't think that's that suspicious. I mean, they got the right city, but it's like if you knew it was Germany, then Frankfurt isn't an unusual guess, and they didn't get so close that it looked like scripting. So in this case, I'm gonna say innocent. Looks like we're back in a German-speaking country. This one I don't think is Germany. It's a little bit hard to tell, but I think we might actually be in low cam, where the camera's mounted a little bit lower for privacy, which they have in Switzerland. So I think this could be Switzerland. Player is very high rated, so I suspect that they will pick up on that if that is the case. Let's see where they guess. Looking around a little bit. Yeah, the blur is really wide, which they have in low cam. Zooming right into Switzerland, going Zurich. Ends up being Zurich. Yeah, I think that's fine. This is one where the opponent was probably frustrated because they got so close, but if you think you're in Switzerland and it's a city, like Zurich is a perfectly fine guess. With the German language and the older buildings and stuff, I think Zurich makes tons of sense. Could be that they got lucky, could be that they saw something that made them think of Zurich specifically. Again, they're higher rated than I am, so I'm not sure exactly what that clue might have been, but it's definitely possible. I think it's very likely that they didn't cheat on this round. All right, next case. Back in Europe again. Looks like Northern Europe. I believe that language looks Germanic. It's a little hard to make out. I think I see Gatan at the end of this, which I believe is Sweden. And this blue sign over here, I think is also found in Sweden. I think it's also found in some other countries, but this looks a lot like Sweden. The brick buildings would make me want to go further south. That's kind of very common in, for example, Denmark and the Netherlands and Belgium, kind of the more northern countries in Europe, and it would probably be less common in, for example, northern Sweden. So that's kind of why I would also think more southern Sweden here. This guy's got a proper coat on though, so it's very cold wherever this is, or it's the middle of winter. Let's see what the player does. We're in moving a little bit. Seeing Gatan again here. This pole in the background here is a very Swedish style with the white and blue. Very confident we're in Sweden at this point. They're stopping on this sign for a long time. A little bit too long in my opinion. They're going north. I didn't think this was north, but okay, now they're going further south. Okay, let's see how close they get. Yeah, that's really suspicious. Getting the right town here isn't the craziest thing in the world. You know, there's a little bit of luck that could have been involved in that, and making a region guess based on the information we had is definitely possible. Another fun clue for Sweden is that the walk signs sometimes have women on them instead of just like androgynous people or men. That's kind of a cool clue. So really what's suspicious about this one is that they stop for so long on this sign and then they get the right area of the city without actually zooming in too far. So if I zoom in here, we will, I think, probably see the name of this street somewhere. Yeah, there it is. And they click so close to it without zooming into the level where you can actually see it. So again, they're clicking from here. And then if we zoom in, you can see the name of the street that it actually ends up being on here, right? But they didn't actually zoom in far enough to see that. So it's like either they got astronomically lucky, just like impossibly lucky, or they were comparing a map that they found on Google that had the name of the street to the actual place. The fact that they go North Sweden at first and then go all the way down makes me think that they were looking for the name of the city that they found on Google. And then they go in and they click so close in the correct part of town without actually seeing the name of the street anywhere. I'm fairly confident that they Googled on this one. Okay, next case. All right, we got Wendy's, probably the US here. We have the double yellow line. We have the reflector in the middle. We don't have front plates. We have the American style fire hydrant. We have this marker that lets you know not to dig with the orange on top. That's gonna be unique to the US. We got big trucks, and perhaps most useful of all, we have the flag. So this is definitely the US, very easy US round. I'd probably go Southern US here with the lack of front plates and the reflector in the middle of the lines, but let's see what the player does. We're in no move. Zooming in on Wendy's. No info there. Got some other generic American brands that are everywhere. That might be the name of the town. Let's see how long they look at this. Every sort of second that goes by here where they're looking at this sign without scanning the map makes it more likely that they're Googling. Like if you were playing legit and you didn't know where this was, you would be looking in the map. If you were just thinking about where this was, you would be looking for other clues while you were thinking in the kind of the background. You wouldn't just sort of sit here and stare at it. That would be kind of a waste of time. And they're zooming in very specific New Orleans area. Could definitely be Louisiana, and there's the name of the town. It's a pretty big town. I hadn't heard of it before this. And are they on the 5K? Could be lining up a road. So yeah, I think at this point they're trying to find out if it's this road or the other road. by lining it up. Should be this one since it's north-south. So they're right here. They need to move their marker up to get the actual 5K, but I think they cheated, so I'm not rooting for them to get the 5K. Just letting you know, if you're watching at home, that's how you line up the road. And then they move over here. Yeah, I mean, that's so suspicious. Like, come on. We just saw the 5K like 2 seconds ago. Unless it's this actual lumber place. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so I actually got baited by that. So let's see. They found this other lumber place. Interesting. I mean, regardless, I'm pretty sure they cheated, but this is so funny because, yeah, I mean, if you notice here, like the road doesn't actually line up. So I was wrong when I was saying before that it was probably this road. As you can see, we're pointing directly north, and so it can't be this road. This road is kind of going a little bit northeast. So it's interesting that they noticed that, and then they go to the other location of this chain, which is over here, and you can see this road lines up perfectly. It's interesting because I think this player is actually not super bad at GeoGuessr based on that, because I actually would have maybe fallen for that other location. But I do think they cheated. It's like you look at this sign for a really long time. I don't even think I'm gonna time it because it's like so long. I'm gonna fast forward through it. Yeah, and it's like, what are you doing during that time? So yeah, they definitely cheated to get the name of the town and the lumber company. But then something that I don't think a lot of cheaters do is that they actually took the extra time to line up the road to like make sure this was the right lumber company, which is just funny because it's like, you already know that you're going to get way closer than your opponent. They probably don't find this place, especially at this rating level. Like, they're never going to find this. And you then line up the road and realize that it's wrong. And so you go back to your other tab. Notice how they're not moving again. So they go back to the other tab and they're like, wait, this isn't the right lumber company. Oh, there's another one that's down the road over here. Let me zoom directly into it and click on it without actually seeing it on the map. Yeah, so you don't even see it. And there it is, and then they click over to it. Yep. So clear cut case of cheating. Just kind of an interesting one that they actually took the extra time to make a good guess in addition to cheating. Weird. But anyway, yeah, definitely Google. All right, let's go on to the next one. Brick buildings, European license plates. Let's see what happens. We're in moving. Lots of brick everywhere. I would have thought this one's actually not too far from the one we had in Sweden. I don't think it's necessarily Sweden, but it could be one of those other countries that I mentioned, like the Netherlands or Belgium, or actually in this case, that looks like it was Danish maybe. So I think this is probably Denmark. On that sign, it looked like it was Danish. And we have all these brick buildings and stuff. And yeah, we don't have the Belgium or the Netherlands license plate. Belgium would be red-ish and Netherlands would be yellow. So pretty sure this is just Denmark. And they're looking around, looking at the license plates and stuff. Makes sense. This is a Danish license plate with a half yellow. I'm not sure exactly what it means. Their commercial vehicles have yellow license plates. And so I wonder if this is like a partial commercial vehicle or something with a partial yellow. Let me know in the comments. Yep, they have that sign in Denmark. So pretty confident at this point. I would just guess Copenhagen here. It's a pretty big city. Let's see what they do. They're going for France. Okay, no, they're going up north now. They are going into Copenhagen. I think that makes perfect sense. And yeah, they're not super close. Yeah, I would have made the same guess as this person. So I don't think it's too suspicious. I didn't really see anything that they stopped long enough to Google. There was one point at which they stopped for a little while. Let me just go back to that quick. Yeah, it was right here at the beginning. They look at this sign over on the left and then they pause. It wasn't more than like 10 seconds or something, 8 or 9 seconds probably. So I don't think it was too suspicious. Not sure what this amager word means there. Not sure how you pronounce it, but I've seen that a lot in Denmark. In fact, I think there's even a region of Copenhagen that has a similar name. I, on this one, am actually gonna say not guilty. Next case. Okay, so for this one here, we should be in the Netherlands. We have yellow license plates. We have the brick pavement, which is very common there. This building is made of bricks, so all in all, very easy Netherlands round. We have somebody who is 500 to 600 and playing moving. Let's see how they do. No moving yet, moving on a little bit now. Dutch language on the sign there. Lots of clues for the Netherlands. Says The Hague right there, so that'll give away the city. Let's see if they pick up on that. Still moving around pretty normally, I'd say. more information. I think it said Hague again there. Okay, they're clicking in the middle of the country. Now they're clicking Amsterdam. Yeah, and they don't even get the Hague. I don't think that was suspicious at all. Yeah, I couldn't tell you why this one was reported. Seems totally fine to me. I'm gonna go ahead and say definitely not guilty. All right, let's do the next one. Okay, this one should be Bangladesh with this kind of backwards triangle letter here. And we don't have the bad camera, so it's not India. So let's see what the player does. We have green tuk-tuk over there. Very common in Bangladesh. Not sure if there's any specific info yet. Okay, so they're stopping at this business for a long time. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Businesses are really only useful in GeoGuessr if they give you some sort of specific region info, and that one didn't look like it did. That was kind of a suspicious move too. Looks like they might have just switched back and then panned over. Let's see how close they get here. Okay, zooming in to Chattergram, and they get kind of close. This one I think is going to be a hard one to prove that they were cheating if they were. They definitely paused for a suspicious amount of time. Yeah, I mean, they spent most of the round looking at this sign, which is not particularly useful, I think. Yeah, just looking closer, I don't actually see any information on there that looks like it would be helpful. Oh, gotta check the reflections up here too. But no, don't see anything. Seems pretty likely to me that they Googled this. I will start a timer on this one. Okay, 12 seconds, and then they pan over and stop moving again. Let's see how long this pauses. Okay, and then 23 seconds total. That's too long, I think. I think the only other thing that I'm going to check really quickly here is just to see how quickly this thing comes up on Google, to see if it was feasible that they could have searched that in 23 seconds. I'm pretty sure that it's too long to be looking at this, so I'm fairly confident that they Googled that, but I do want to make 100% sure. Yeah. You know what? It's actually... So first things first, it came up super, super quick. It was the very first suggested result as soon as I typed in the copper chimney. The thing that's even more suspicious, though, is not only did it come up, but actually there's two of them, and they clicked the wrong one. So if I go back to the round and we see where they actually clicked, see how they clicked up north here, and the actual round was down to the south. If we look here, this is where the actual location was, and then this is where they clicked. So cut and dry, they definitely Googled. Okay, let's do another one. Right off the bat, we have French language, it looks like. It says Roux up there. A player that's 1300 rated, and we're playing moving. This architecture to me looks like it actually could be Paris. We have these kind of dormer windows, which are common there, and these tall windows here. Not 100% sure, but that would be my first thought. Let's see what the player does. Okay, looking around. Yep, they're zooming in pretty quick. Zooming into France, they're looking south. They're gonna click Paris, and it is Paris. Let's see how close they got. Yeah, nothing crazy. So like I said, this architecture is very Parisian, and we had French, so it makes sense to guess Paris. The fact that they got so close, I think, is down to the fact that the round itself was so close to the center of Paris. So where they clicked from a pretty high zoom level, but nothing crazy, they were here. They're not directly on the 5K or anything. And yeah, nothing too crazy. Seems pretty reasonable to me. I think they're innocent. Okay, let's do another one. All right, this one, it should be US or Canada. Not immediately obvious to me which one it is. We're in moving and we're rated 900 to 1,000. Let's see what the player does. Looking around a little bit. Seems like we're pretty far north here. I would guess northeast US or southeast Canada. Maybe Quebec or New Brunswick. Something like that. Could even be Nova Scotia. They skip past the speed limit sign. Let's see if they go back for that. Okay, so it is Canada. Yep, so we see maximum instead of speed limit, so we know it's Canada. That seemed pretty legit, the way that they zoomed past the speed limit sign, then they saw it and they went back. That was a very reasonable thing to do. Okay, looks like we're gonna have some info here. See the wooden signposts, which are quite common in Canada. Okay, they're stopping for a long time on this sign. Yeah. That's too long to be stopping. I'll reserve judgment until I see how close they actually get, but it looked pretty suspicious the way that they stopped on that. Okay, now we have better information here. We have the actual road number. See if they start scanning for that. So they are going Nova Scotia, makes sense. Okay, they find the place, they find the road. They're clicking around quite a bit. Okay. It's kind of weird that they, I think, saw this place, but didn't actually guess there. Yeah, like right here, they're clicked so close to the 5K. It's possible that they didn't see that, but it seems to kind of stand out quite a bit, this Sable River place. And then they guess so far away. It's like the way they're moving around here is very weird to me. You don't normally switch off of such a good guess when you have information like this. It kind of seemed to me like in this case, they were covering up the fact that they cheated by making a worse guess. So I'm gonna go back and time the time that they were looking at that other sign to see if it was long enough to Google. 20 seconds looking at a sign like that is just simply too long unless you're looking through the map. Another case where it's like they didn't really use the information, they just kind of stared at the sign for 20 seconds. So I'm fairly confident what happened here is that they Googled that sign and then they move further down the road and they already know where it is, but they look at this sign, they see the place and they click close to it and then they switch off of it, which is just so suspicious to me. It's like, you're so close to the right answer. Why would you switch away? You know, we all make bad swaps from time to time, but to make a bad swap in a round where you also stared at a sign for a really long time is just too much of a coincidence for my taste. So I'm gonna say in this case, they Googled. So I think we're gonna call it there for now. Thanks so much for watching. I really enjoyed doing that, so let me know if you wanna see more, and I'll see you next time.